So I want to dive into and explore some topics to create some more clarity in your world in terms of you creating your life and being who you are and discovering what it is that you want to be doing here. So yeah, we may end up somewhere completely all the way over here, but will get us back to where we need to go. If you have questions, please put your hand up and don't be shy to ask questions. So I want to look at choice and what choice is. Because choice is one of the greatest gifts that we're born with and something we're never taught to have. So as a kid, our parents, they don't empower us with choice. It's always, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. You've got to do this, you can't do that. They never ask, what do you want to choose? What would you like to choose? It's always, don't do this, don't do that. So then, growing up as a kid, we aren't taught to have choice around from our family, because when we do choose something, we get in trouble for it. Or we're told that it's wrong, or whatever it is. So then we start to get choice taken away from us in a sense. We'll have that false belief that we don't have choice, because I'm able to go around a lot of spots. That we don't have choice because anything that we've chosen and gotten wrong from our parents, we've got in trouble for, so then we don't want to choose anything because we don't want to get in trouble, because trouble can mean a whole bunch of different things depending on the family we were raised with. And then you go to school, and then you have no choice in what you learn. You have no choice in school. It's just, you've got to come in here, you've got to dress this way, you've got to behave this way, you have to learn these things, you have to have the right answer. So there's no room for you to actually explore you and choose what works for you and choose what you like to create. You have to choose these things. If you don't, you're wrong. So then, predominantly growing up through being around our family and then through primary school and high school, we never taught that we actually have a choice in creating our lives. We're given a selection of choices what we can choose to create our lives with. So like when you go through high school and you do UPC or whatever and get your ATAR score, it's like, here's your choices that you have. That's all you've got. So then for a lot of us, for most of us, that doesn't work. We don't want to choose those things, but we don't think that we can choose. We have to choose what's presented to us. And then so, as you'd see, a lot of people choose these career paths that then they don't want to do it and they become miserable and they try something else and blah, blah, blah. And then you've also got society telling you what's right and what's wrong and the appropriate way to behave, blah, blah, blah. So that also then takes away choice from you in creating your world, in your life. So when we function from right and wrong, we don't have choice. And we've got to look at like, okay, well, what's choice for me? Because a lot of people think if I have two choices, that's choice. But it's like, if you have to be right, there's no choice in that because you have to be right. Whereas choice is space. Choice is infinite. It's like, you can choose whatever you want to choose at any 10 seconds. It's like, how many people actually function from that space? How many people actually acknowledge that they have infinite choice? And how many people are too busy trying to get life right and trying to be right and trying to always have the appropriate way to respond to somebody or fit in and be right according to this reality and whatnot. And it's like, how much choice are you eliminating from your reality, having to fit in, having to be right? And the thing with needing to be right is that's coming from a presumptive reality that you're already wrong, because that's why you need to be right, because you already believe that you're wrong, so you're trying to be right. And it's like not working in your favor, even though you may think it is. So we've got to dive into actually looking at choice and going, okay, how much how much of what I'm choosing in my life right now do I actually not want to be choosing? Like, how much am I choosing? Do I think I have to keep choosing because I've chosen it? It's like, how many people choose something and then make that a decision, and then they have to keep choosing that for the rest of their life because they chose it, and then maybe they feel obligated to do it, or they've got obligations and promises to other people because they've chosen this thing, or to themselves. And it's like, how much do you eliminate choice from your reality when you think you have no other choice because you've chosen something? It's like, you start to create yourself a no choice reality. And when we want to look at creating our lives and having a purpose, it's like we got to start to step into actually having choice and going, what do I want to choose? What do I want to create? Not what have I chosen that I'm going to keep choosing because I've chosen it, and if I don't choose it, I'll be wrong because now I don't want to choose it, and it starts to create a wrongness because you don't want to choose what you've been choosing, but then you'll keep choosing it even though you feel wrong for choosing it, but you don't want to be wrong, you want to be right, so you'll make yourself right for feeling wrong rather than just choosing what's going to work for you. And it's like, how much of your life do you choose from need? Like, I need to choose this, I need to do this, I need to be this, I need to have this, I need to change this problem, I need to have this thing show up because that's going to solve all my problems. So the space that you're choosing from is from needing. Like, once I get this money, it's going to fix everything. Once I have this relationship, it's going to fix everything. And it's like, as soon as you decide that you need something, you eliminate choice from your reality because now you need that thing. So you can't choose anything else. So if you need to be right, you have no other choice as to choose what's to be right for you, or just based on your own judgment. If you need a relationship, you actually eliminate choice from your reality in terms of not having a relationship and being happy not having a relationship, and actually choosing somebody that's going to contribute and expand your world. If you gave up the need of relationship, you could actually have a relationship that's going to expand your world 100 times greater. But a lot of people have decided they need a relationship because in this reality, relationship is seen as like the holy grail. You've got a relationship, you're doing life right, everyone's doing life right, they don't do it wrong. So then they choose these relationships that actually aren't nurturing to them, they aren't caring, they aren't expanding the world, but they've got a relationship, so they're right, it's alright, you know? How many people get in a relationship and then will put up with shit because they've got a relationship and it's better than being single? And it's like, how much choice is in that? And so, with choice, it's like, what if choice was only relevant for 10 seconds? And so, choice is only relevant for 10 seconds, then how much choice would that create in your reality in terms of actually looking at, well, what do I want to create? What do I want to choose? If I could choose this and I could choose something else, then, and if nothing was ever wrong and I never could fail, then what would I choose? So we've got to step out of that. If I choose this, I have to keep doing this forever. You know, it's like, you can choose that, and if it doesn't work 10 seconds later, choose something else. If it doesn't work 10 months later, choose something else. But start to step into that empowerment of yourself, knowing that you have a different choice, that you can choose something else, so that then you can empower yourself to create your life and start to get more clarity on what do I want to create as me, as my life, because when we look at purpose, how many people think that how many people's purpose in life is to save the world, or to save somebody else? It's like, you know, you ask somebody, what's your purpose? They look for a way that they can save the world. You know, I want to help these people. I want to be this. I want to be that. Rather than looking at, like, what do they actually want to be? What do they actually want to create as their life? Because so many people think if they're not helping others, if they're not saving the world, then they're being selfish and they're being wrong. Because if I choose me, and I create my life, and it's not to save the world, then I'm not saving the world, I'm wrong for that. So it's like stepping out of the need to save the world and the need to save everybody else, because it's like, what if nobody needed saving? Because a lot of people get stuck in the savior mode. I've got to save the world, I've got to save everybody, and it's like, which ends up, how many people will not be creating their lives, be in such a, say, financial debt, but then somebody needs some money, they'll go, don't worry about my situation, and I'll help you find money. But even though I have no money, it's like they put saving people above themselves, and then it becomes this thing that it's an element that you end up never being able to create your life, because you're too busy trying to be the savior of the world, but you are the unsuccessful savior of the world. And then it's like, what if you actually chose for you and started to recognize and acknowledge that if you chose for you, if you chose to be you and follow your joy and what lights you up, that's actually what's going to create a different world. That's what's actually going to create change in other people. Because it's when we choose us and choose to be us, that ripples out. And a lot of people are looking external as to what can I do externally to change the world, to create a different world, rather than what can I be? What energy, space and consciousness can I be, my body be, to create a different world? And if we started to look at that, then we could start to see that it's always when we choose for us and our joy that then the world around us changes. It's like how many times when you choose for you and you choose something that lights you up and expands your world, that then your outer world shifts. And so looking at with choice, just to bring clarity into like how much of your life are you choosing that you don't want to be choosing? Like what your day-to-day life, what are you choosing that you actually don't want to be choosing? How much do you not want to be doing things you're doing?
What are some examples?
Your
Of
job,
not choosing, yeah.
your relationship,
conversations
you're
attitude,
having, like how you're being,
exposure.
like ways that you're reacting, just like tasks that you're doing each day that you've decided you have to do in order to create yourself a greater life. Like, what have you decided that you need to do in order to create the life you decided that you have to have that's eliminating choice from your reality? So we're going to start to look at that and go, okay, what am I actually choosing? Because we're going to start to create a presence about ourselves and an awareness of like, what am I actually choosing every 10 seconds? Because choice is only relevant for 10 seconds. So we're going to look at, what am I choosing? Because that's creating. So what am I creating? And what am I choosing that I don't want to be choosing, that's creating a life that I fucking hate, but I'm not willing to choose anything else. I'm not willing to actually look at what are the choices I'm making, and actually going, I can actually choose something different. And recognizing that you can choose something different. It doesn't need to make sense to you. It doesn't need to make sense to anybody else. It's just that you choose something different. When something's not working, how many people go to the why? Why is this showing up? Why is this happening? They get stuck on the why. Why am I this way? Why did this person do this to me? Blah, 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 blah. And when you look at the why, you get stuck there and you go round and round and round and round and nothing ever changes. And you think that if you can understand the why, then you can figure out, do all the logic to change your life. And like kids, when you look at kids ask why. But why? But why? But why? It doesn't matter what you fucking say to them. Because the sky's blue. But why? Because I took my pants off this morning. But why? Because I ate breakfast. Why? It doesn't matter. The why's not important. So we're going to look at, okay, if the why's not important, what if I started to look at what's a different choice here? What if I asked that? What's a different choice here? Because I'm not enjoying what I'm choosing. This isn't working for me. So what's a different choice?
Or,
And-
sorry,
Yeah. That's,
I just want to know why you think the why is not important.
yes. And I'll
Uh,
answer that too.
well, yeah, because like the why, you think that if you can understand everything, then you can make sense of it, and then it's all gonna, then it's significant and it will have meaning, and then you can go, okay, now I can learn from this because I understand it, and I can go beyond it, and it's like, if the why is important, if the why is relevant, it'll show up and it'll appear. But people get stuck with the why and they don't create their lives. They get stuck there and they just keep going around and round and round. And then when they're going round and round and round, they start to put in the thoughts, feelings, and emotions and the significance, and that just creates more polarity in their reality. And then it just creates this whole story, this whole heaviness, and then it just becomes this big mess rather than going, okay, I'm choosing this, it's not working. What else can I choose? And keep the energy and keep the motion going rather than getting stuck there. And then if the why wants to show up, it'll pop up.
That's nice.
Or you could use the why as I was thinking, so when things happen, we say, why me? The why could be the other version of why me. So why me in this position, in this situation with these people? Why me? What am I going to learn or do? Or am I required to be? Why am I here? What was the orchestration of me in this time, space, reality with these people having these conversations? What's the purpose? Because that's also another beautiful, like, because why shows up a lot, like why me? But what I do to remind myself from my experience is like, why me? Like, why did you choose me, God? Like, that's what I say in my conversation. And it's kind of nice, and then it flips it, and then it goes into the what and the other things, like the other possibilities you said, and start thinking differently instead of just why me.
So yeah.
The reason that I asked that question in the first place is because I think going to the past is how we know not to repeat it in the future. So that essentially our future is not predetermined by the past. And the why, the question of why, is very important in that. So I guess what you're saying is maybe to stop the fixation on that. It's very true, you do need self-inquiry, you do need to ask why, but perhaps if I'm understanding your point, it's you don't fixate on it.
Yeah, don't get stuck on the why.
Because I feel that it's right now. I'm in that situation. I'm definitely analysing, and the why is the thing. But you're right. It does for me creates a dirty loop where I do get stuck and stepping out of it and giving some fresh, clean energy, and almost just surrendering to the why. Like that'll show up. Cool. I don't need to think about it. It's going to come anyway.
And then when you ask a question like, what else is possible that I haven't even considered?
It's just more of an open space to create.
It just opens
Yeah.
up.
I do
More
feel
possibilities
that,
to show up.
Because when you say no why, I'm like, that's all about the why. And then I was like, that's probably the focus. That's
Well, yeah, generally why is not a question, it's a statement with a question mark attached to it. You also got to look at our brains of past referencing point systems. So when we go to, a lot of people when they go to choose, they go to their past to choose from, which is an infinite choice. It's what's going to work based on my past. And so you're actually, as soon as you go into the mind, you're out of the energy of what's right now. So you got to look at what's the energy right now. Just because something showed up in the past doesn't mean it's going to show up again. Just because you chose something in the past that didn't work out doesn't mean it's not going to work out again. It may not work out again, but you got to be present right now, look at the energy and go, okay, what can I choose right now? What's going to create something greater right now with the choices that with the future I'm aiming to create, rather than otherwise we get into the automated system of going to the past reference points in order to create our lives from. So then we're avoiding things because we don't want to recreate it, or we keep recreating past loops because we're constantly choosing from the past and then it's keeping these loops going, rather than going, what's right now? What's the energy right now? What's going to contribute to me in my body right now? What's going to contribute to the world right now? What's going to work? Because we make the past so relevant. What if the past wasn't relevant at all? And so it's not to say you can't learn from your past and look at your past to choose from, but the brain will automatically go into past reference points in order to choose what worked and what didn't work, and based off that, which eliminates choice from your reality. And as an infinite
So-
being, you eliminate choice from reality for what reason?
Can I clarify? So what you're saying is when something shitty presents itself, instead of asking really why or anything, you're really saying just go into the now, because even by asking, my pre-programmed brain and conditioning is going to answer from a known fact from my past, and I'm reconstructing that before it's even actually materialized. Like I've already started that vibration, that motion, and then I'm recreating it again and again until the loop stops, or I'm confronted with something bad, but I perceive it in a different way.
Well, the loop will. So with loops, like if you want to look at creating loops in your life, look for a different choice. That's going to create a reality. When we keep with the loops in life, it's like things will show up, and it looks different, but it's the same thing. It just might be a different person, it might be a different relationship, it might be a different whatever, but it's the same underlying thing. And then we look for our past reference points in order to look at what we chose last time, and then what worked and what didn't work. Rather than going, okay, what, acknowledging the loop with no judgment and going, okay, what's a different choice here? Because it's like, I don't know if I spoke about it last time I spoke, but I have an analogy, maybe I spoke about it in the judgment call, of like when you're on, so loops are like, we create an algorithm in our life with when we keep choosing past reference points and judgments and conclusions and definitions, we create algorithms in our life. And then so, if you think of when you're on YouTube and you type in how to play a singing bowl, it starts to show videos of how to play a singing bowl. It might show you a million different videos of people doing it differently, but it's the same thing. And so that's an algorithm. And then you type in how to make pasta, the algorithm has to change. So it has to show pasta videos now. So then when we have loops going on and we ask a question, it interrupts the algorithm. And then when we choose something different, that algorithm has to change, even if it's just a little bit. So then the more willing we are to choose different, and the more willing we are to be present with every 10 seconds of our lives and what we're choosing, and the more different we choose, then those loops and those algorithms can't be there anymore. It dissolves it all. So,
That's how you change.
look for something. It's like how many people actually look for different versus what have I chosen in the past? What's going to work from that? So in terms of your purpose and discovering that, it's like, what if the purpose of life was to have fun? And it's like, you know, if you start to step into that and it's like, okay, well,
Good one.
if the purpose of life was to have fun, then what could I actually choose and what could I create and who could I be and what could I have and what could I generate and institute as my life? Rather than this whole seriousness of like, if I haven't got my purpose, I'm wrong. How many people feel wrong because they haven't got a purpose? How many people are waiting until they have a purpose before they create their lives? Like, I can't do anything until I find my purpose. And then the lives go on and they're just waiting around for their purpose to show up. Rather than going, okay, well, what do I enjoy doing? What brings me joy? What lights me up? What am I enthusiastic about? What would I like my life to be like? And started choosing those things, then you'll start to get more clarity on what it is you're here to be and do. Because you're choosing you. You're choosing those things that light you up. When we choose and follow our joy, that contributes to the world. That starts to create a different world. And so, it's not wrong to not know your purpose. And it's not wrong to change your purpose. If you're like doing something, then you're like, no, I want to do something. It's not wrong. And it's like getting out of the waiting. If you haven't got a purpose, getting out of waiting for your purpose before you start creating, before you start choosing you. And going, alright, if I chose for me today, and I chose for my body, what would I choose? And go on that adventure, because life's an adventure. So if you don't know your purpose, it's not wrong, it's an adventure. It's like, fuck yeah, let's go. How's it getting better? Like, what?
That's the fun, right?
Yeah, and that's it. And it's like, what you choose, like as creative beings, it's like you're not going to choose one thing and that's going to be it. You're going to choose a million different things. And you're going to create a million different things. That's just how we be. But a lot of us think we have to choose one thing, and stick to that, and then master it, and then be that forever. And then that's what we present be to the world. But it's like, what if you could be 10 different things? What if you could be 100 million things? You know, what if there's no limit on what you can be and do and choose? And so if you stepped into that and we're going, okay, it's not wrong that I don't know what I'm doing right now. Sweet. Start to ask some questions. Like, what are fun ways to create my reality? What comes so naturally to me that I can give to the world, that other people require? What is the gift in me? What am I here to be and do? What do I truly enjoy doing? What expands me in my life? And actually start to ask questions, because when we ask questions, that's when we play with the universe. The universe goes, oh cool, you wanna ask questions? So I'll start to show you some possibilities. And then you choose, get more awareness, and you create more possibilities. And you keep choosing and choosing and choosing. That's why choice is only relevant for 10 seconds, because you're choosing every 10 seconds. How many of us recognize that and acknowledge that we're actually choosing every 10 seconds? And look at that. How many people have already concluded their day before it's even started? Have already concluded who they are, and then they have to be that. And where's the choice in that? It's like, actually I have choice. Your choice is infinite. So I have infinite choice around me all the time. Okay, sweet. Well, what do I want to choose? What do I want to create? Who do I want to be today? What do I want to create today? What can I contribute today? When we ask questions, questions contribute. When we look for an answer, question empowers, and answer always disempowers. How many of us always look for an answer? If I can just get the right answer, then I'll have it all worked out. And it's like, as soon as when we're playing with the universe and we're asking questions, as soon as we take an answer, we stop the motion in life. And we go to the universe, oh, I don't need your help anymore, I've got the answer, thank you. And so the universe is like, okay, cool, I won't give you any more. And then we just kill the motion of what we're creating. We get an answer, and then the energy stops. And we're like, oh, then we've got to recreate that energy again. Whereas if we just stayed in question and kept asking questions, how much more could we expand, and how much more could our lives expand, how much more choice would we have, possibilities would we have, if we never took an answer and went, that's it, I've got it. But so many of us are stuck in the need of being right, so we're always trying to do what's right and find what's right for us, and react the right way to everybody else, that eliminates choice from our reality. And gets us stuck in choosing things that we don't want to be choosing, because it doesn't feel right, doesn't serve us, but we think we have to keep choosing it because we've made being right so valuable, more valuable than being us. That then keeps us in this never-ending loop of wrongness that we will keep having the reasons and justifications for to be right for, rather than choosing something different. Rather than going, you know what? I'm going to choose me. I'm going to create my life. Doesn't make sense right now. I don't know what I'm choosing right now. But I'm going to start choosing me. I'm going to start to go and step into that and look at, all right, what do I want to create? What is it? Who do I want to be today? What is the life I truly like to have? Be that question every day. What is the life I'd like to create? It's going to change. You're going to go this one way, and then you're like, hey, this isn't working anymore, we're going this way. But be willing to go that way and flow with it and keep choosing and asking questions so you're not just get stuck there and go, why did this happen? Because how much awareness do we turn off to put ourselves in those situations where we go, how did this happen? Why did this happen? How unaware were we being to get ourselves into those situations? How much disaster do we create in our lives in order to get the awareness of what it is we were choosing, rather than just choosing what's going to work for us? It's like so many of us will create disaster in order for us to change, or for us to get the awarenesses that we weren't willing to be aware of throughout the process. And then we create this disaster and we're like, holy crap, how did this happen? And then you get the awareness, it's like, oh yeah, it's because of this, this, and this. Rather than just being aware of what you're choosing every day, so that you don't have to create disaster. Because if we didn't keep putting our energy into creating disaster, then what could we create? If we didn't keep creating ourselves as pathetic, what could we create? If we didn't keep putting our energy into creating shit, what could we create? Like, we have to create something. We're creative beings, and a lot of us create shit because we don't know what we're going to create, but it's going to go somewhere. So we create all this crap in our lives, and then we have reasons and justifications for to keep choosing it because we feel wrong for the crap, but we want to be right for feeling wrong, rather than going, all right, what if I created my life? Something that expanded me and my body and the world. What would that look like? What would that be like? Universe, body, show me the way, let's go. And start to step into that, start to get more clarity and actually go on that adventure of who you are. You know, and it's always changing. You don't have a definition. An infinite being, you can't define an infinite being. So you've got to step out of trying to define who you are and conclude who you are and judge who you are. And just be whatever's required of you every 10 seconds that's going to create something greater. And be willing to lose everyone, lose everything, because then you can have everyone, have everything. And so, looking at like what, you know, a tool for like, okay, like how do I choose, how do I create my life? Looking at a tool is like light and heavy. So what's light and what's heavy? So what's light for you is true, what's heavy is a lie. So if you go with your choices and go, does this feel light or does this feel heavy? And it's just an energetic feeling of like, oh, I'm in space, it's light, cool. Oh, this is heavy. Listen to the energy. Because if we chose what was light for us and what was true, we would create more lightness. So many of us think that we have to keep choosing the heavy in order to get through the heavy, in order to create some lightness. And then once we've got that lightness, we've worked hard for it, we've got the blood, sweat and tears and the trauma and the drama and the suffering and the pain to like make it all worthwhile. Rather than going, okay, if I kept choosing what was light for me, then maybe that'd actually create more lightness in the world and I wouldn't have to keep choosing the heavy. And if I kept choosing the light, then what contribution would that be to the world and everybody else in choosing what's true for them and what's light for them? Versus, I've got to get through the heavy to get through to the light. So the light heavy tool is like, just look at, does this feel light, does this feel heavy? What this person's saying to me, is it light, is it heavy? Is it, and you could also like, look at, if you've already got a predetermined choice in your head too, because something when you start using this tool is some people will go, yeah, it feels light, but they've already got a choice they want to choose in their head. So you've actually got to be with the energy. You're like, oh yeah, it feels light, but then you already want to choose this thing. So it's like, you're not being the tool of light and heavy. You actually got to go, does this feel light? Cool, let's
Not
choose it.
positive, toxic positivity as well. You know, like when you pre-program to be like, oh, choose light, but it doesn't feel light, it doesn't feel light. And then you're like, be happy in this shitty situation, but that shitty situation is actually telling you it's heavy and it's not for you.
So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on choice, guys, and get you actually looking at, you have choice every 10 seconds, so what do you want to choose? You don't have to keep choosing what you've been choosing. You don't have to keep choosing the relationships you've been choosing. You don't have to keep choosing the job you've been choosing. You have choice available to you all the time. When we can start to step into that and get ourselves empowered with that, then we can start to create the lives we want to create. Because we can look at, I don't want to choose this anymore. It's not working for me. I don't have to keep doing life hard. I don't have to keep choosing this because I told this person I was going to choose it, or I told myself I was going to choose it. I can change what I'm choosing. So how much of my life am I choosing that I don't want to be choosing anymore? What if I looked at what's a different choice? What else is possible here I haven't yet considered? Started to ask questions so that different possibilities can show up and going, oh, what if I choose that? Choose that. If it doesn't work out, cool, choose something else. Keep choosing. What if you could never fail? What would you choose? If money wasn't the issue, what would you choose? Start to step into that space and go on that adventure of discovering who you are and what your life's going to be. And it's gonna change, and you're gonna lose the plot, and you're gonna lose people, and you're gonna lose you, and you're gonna just like shell this bullshit off, and you're gonna go crazy sometimes, but it's all part of it. You're just gonna be willing to keep choosing you every day, no matter what that looks like, who you piss off, how uncomfortable it is. Because it's gonna expand you, it's gonna expand your body, and it's gonna expand the world. And when we wanna look at creating a different world, we've gotta look at what's different. We keep looking at changing what's already here, as if that's gonna work. We've gotta look at what's a different choice. That's what's gonna create something different and greater. Not, let's change what's not working and try like turn it this way and see if it'll work that way. It's like, what's a different choice completely to what we've been choosing? And the more of us,
Oh, so sorry.
How are you?
I was wondering if you see this, if everyone took this approach, how that would work collectively, like in a community. How do you take that approach of just choosing for you what feels right all the time? Because I love the idea, I think it's amazing. But when you place it in a community, when you place it in society, just playing devil's advocate, how do you see that working if everyone is constantly, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to choose that as heavy. It was going to benefit other people if I do, but it doesn't feel right for me, so I'm not going to choose that. Everyone is approaching life this way. How are we working together?
So if we start to function from a space of when we choose and create, of what's going to contribute to me, my body, and the world, and create it from that. So when we do choose for us, it includes everyone and everything. Then when we're choosing collectively, everyone's included. We're not separate. We're in oneness. So it's like what I choose, like I was saying earlier, when we choose us, when we choose to be us, it ripples out into the world. It's like if I included my body, if I included the earth and everyone here in my choices, then you're there creating with it. And it's like when we choose our joy, that creates more joy. And when we look at because when we choose us and when we choose the joy, it starts to break down the solidity of this reality, and it starts to break down all the rights and wrongs of what this reality is set up, all the judgments, all the conclusions, the definitions, the significance of what this reality is, which it doesn't want you to be doing. And then so the more of us that collectively we're going, I'm going to choose for me, because I know when I choose for me it's contributing. I'm not, because if we look at, I'm going to choose for me, but it's going to be so that this person doesn't get benefited. It's so I like, in a sense of like, there's that, it's going to impact them in a way that's not going to contribute to them. Then are you truly choosing something that's for you and going to contribute versus you choosing from a need or a need, like a judgment of like right and wrong or something like that. So you actually look at like when you're choosing for you, what space are you choosing from and what it is that, what are you aiming to create in the world? You know, if it's like, oh, I'm gonna choose for me right now because I'm hungry, so I'm gonna steal these people's food from their shop. Is that gonna create something greater versus, you know, if I was choosing and being the oneness that I truly be, that has no separation, that has no need of connection. Because if we have a need of connection, we're in separation, we're in duality, we're not in oneness. Need of connection is an invention, it doesn't truly exist. If we're being the oneness that we truly be, we'll never have a need of connection. And we include everyone and everything in our choices, then if we had a community of people doing that, it's like what is light is going to expand everyone and everything. Versus, choosing against everyone and everything in a sense. Does that bring clarity? Does that make clarity in that? Yep. So, my time is up. Yeah, just want to so touch base on choice, just to get you guys choosing and recognizing you have choice, because that's going to give you clarity on creating your life. And start to look at what do you want to be, who do you want to be, what do you want to create. If there was no wrong choice, you don't know what you're doing, and that's not wrong. What could you start choosing? If you didn't have to choose your relationship, if you didn't have to choose your work, if you didn't have to choose what you chose yesterday, every other day before that, what could you choose? And what would you choose? How many of you already know what you would be choosing, but you're resisting choosing that because you have to let go of somebody else? We have to let go of what you've already created. And you're not willing to do that. How many of you already know what it is you want to be choosing? What lights you up? What brings you that enthusiasm and that joy? You just haven't been choosing it. What if you start choosing it? I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's like we could probably sit here all day and
Really
explore
good. The most amazing thing is when somebody is so passionate and so lit up and so full of light, it translates, and I feel like your light really translated. I'm so moved by all the things and how you assimilated everything. I'm really moved by you today in so many ways, and I'm sure we all are, so thank you. We've seen, we're actually, every one of us is actually friends. There's some love and connection in a beautiful way, and I think there's so many versions I see of these great healers and teachers you see. Outside of this, he's gonna go and hustle now to his side job. Like he's, and then the amount of time, effort, and care, and passion and love that this light brings to us, it's not surmountable to anything there's no limit on that. It's exponential. So I know we honor your teachings today. Thank you.
Cheers. And just choose what's real and true for you guys. Like if I said things today and it doesn't feel, don't choose it. Don't choose what works for you. But also look at, does it feel heavy because there's a belief in me that I'm not willing to give up, or is part of me that I don't want to look at and I'm avoiding and it's feeling heavy? It's actually like looking whenever someone's presenting you something and you get triggered, okay, what is this? And be willing to not need to be right and change your point of view when it's required, and give up any point of view at any 10 seconds in order to have something greater. So yeah, thanks. Cheers.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks, Nat. Thank you all. Good job, Nat.